feels good.
It's very sleek. A lot of people love their OnePlus phones.
I've had a OnePlus One since 2014.
I love it.
I'm scooping it up.
This one is amazing. One of the important things is that it's very fast. Having more RAM and having more memory is just a really smart way of future-proofing.
I really like the gestures.
Made majority of the camera and then fast charging.
Battery life is a big kicker for me. I love it. I only charge it once every 2 days or so, and I'm using it constantly.
Dash charging.
Dash charge. Really, I want
It's so good.
As a whole, the phone is just really well thought out. For the price point, there's no other competitor for it.
Plus ever.
Yo.
OnePlus has come a long way since we started. It's really incredible that we've been able to establish ourselves as such a key player in a really competitive industry. And it really just comes down to one simple idea, which is just to create the best user experience. But I think the best user experience is not just about the product. It has to be about the love and the passion for what you do and how customers can see that. We actually started with only 5 people in customer service, and now we have more than 500 people in customer support in more than 10 locations around the world. So if a device needs to be repaired, all you have to do is contact us through one of our many different channels of support, and we've got everything taken care of for you. Everything from pickup and transport to repairs and returns.
Customer support is the first point of contact. It's basically the face of the company. It really encourages you to do better because you can see how it impacts someone.
On an average for a day, we were taking about 500 calls, and that's actually covering from 4 a.m. Eastern until 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year.
With this job, I actually get to interact a lot with customers in different countries. In a way, I get to learn their culture, so it's really a fun and learning experience for me. It feels like it's like reading a book.
We also have multilingual support in local regions so that, for example, if you're from France, all you have to do is go to the website and you can speak directly to one of our French agents.
I had a customer that had a problem, and always he was, I want to speak with Paula, I want to speak with Paula, I want to speak with Paula. We are here to help, so they are coming like, I don't know how to explain. If you want, I can say in French.
When you have a customer asking for a particular agent, I would say at that point it's like a small friendship.
Because we sell all our products online, naturally we're a global company. But a big step for us was to open our regional locations in Europe and the US. Now our warehouses and repair centers are a lot closer to customers, so this has actually helped us to reduce the turnaround time for all of our customer service matters by more than 3 times since we launched the OnePlus One.
Our facility here in Texas is a repair for all of the United States. So if we receive your phone on Monday, it'll ship to you as soon as Wednesday and be back to your home on Friday. We'll do everything to fix your phone and get it back to you as fast as possible.
You, me, everybody else, we're all dependent on our phones. I feel good knowing that they got their phone back already in working condition. That way they can go on with their lives taking selfies.
My favorite part
coming to this job is being able to troubleshoot, and it would go back to my days as a kid when I used to play Legend of Zelda or just doing some Rubik's Cube, or I enjoyed being able to triumph over the puzzle, and that's what I really like.
We have a blackboard where we used to display beautiful messages from our customers, and they are actually remembering the agents' names and they are thanking for the support we offered. So this is pretty cool.
For example, if you write something like they're impeccable, and automatically I'm like, great.
Once a customer called me, "You are my hero." And it was funny because it's a small thing, and saying "you are my hero," I never forgot that.
We're a family that grows with every new user that we have. And that's, I think, what our customer support is really all about.
People often ask me, what does it take to make a good portrait? Yes. I'm Kevin A. Bosch, and photography has been an important part of my life for at least the last 30 years. With portrait photography, one has the potential to create images charged with an intimacy and depth that connect us to the subjects we shoot. When we speak of portrait photography, we usually think of the subjects as being people, but I use the term broadly to refer to any subject we focus on with the intention of creating intimacy. With portrait photography, you can discover and reveal a new facet of a close friend, a relative, or just someone you bump into on the street. There's no secret to shooting a good portrait. In fact, I prefer not to speak in terms of good and bad. What really matters is that you are happy with your own results. Figuring out what works for you takes time and lots of trial and error. There tends to be a consensus, however, around what people find desirable. Technically speaking, photography is about light, the source of the light, how it hits your subject, and how the reflected light reaches the camera. Having an understanding of this, and even how to control lighting, will have a profound effect on your images. It can mean the difference between a well-lit subject and a subject so dark it becomes a silhouette. Where's the sun in the sky? Is it midday and up so high that it casts deep shadows under the eyes and nose? Maybe that's what you want. Or you might want to avoid the sun altogether and bring your subject into the shade. Yes, by all means, place your subject in the light that helps you achieve the look you're going for. Might sound like common sense, but as my father used to say, common sense isn't very common. With portrait photography, it can take a bit of time to get all the elements just right.
Dorset, south of England, and I'm gonna show you how to take a money shot with the OnePlus 5 using the best settings in manual mode. In order to do this, I need to take two pictures, one during the day and one during the night, and then blend them together with the Photoshop app. First of all, I'm gonna find the right spot and frame the shot. Then I will work in manual mode, shooting in RAW, using the lowest ISO and slightly underexpose. At this point I just have to leave the camera in position and wait for the night to take over, and then shoot the second picture in the darkest moment, which will happen in about 5 hours. This time I'm gonna shoot using a higher ISO as it's really dark, and I'm gonna select the longest exposure time and set the focus to the infinite. This is already a really nice shot straight from the camera, but by blending it with the daylight shot, I'm gonna be able to make it look even better by adding extra details to the darkest areas. But before I do that, I need to prepare the daylight shot by increasing the exposure, the contrast, the highlights, the shadows, and the clarity. Now I can blend it using the overlay option and reducing a bit its intensity. Lastly, but not least, I'm gonna add a vignette and blend it as well. And that's it, the magic is done.
Street photography is all about capturing the right moment at the right time. You have that split second to get your picture right, so it challenges you as a photographer as well. You don't want to miss out on the expression because the subjects are shaky or blurred or there is some motion blur, so burst mode helps me a lot. That's one of the best things I like about the OnePlus. Photos is the photo of a little girl dressed in a beautiful frock. Why I really like it is because of the innocence in her face, just standing there having no idea as to what is going on really helped me capture her in her element. And one more thing, her name is Pari, which in English translates to an angel, and I really like that because she was standing there, she was looking exactly like an angel.
Taking a picture is not just about catching a moment in time. To me, it's rather a quest to catch the beauty which is all around us. It's an epic journey living for the unknown, to find the right place at the right time. Using the right device to frame the untamed grace. Moving into the dark as the universe reveals itself, with that outstanding ocean of stars. There I will find the right place to make the magic happen, picking the best settings and hitting the shutter button to capture the immense beauty that would have been otherwise lost. To me, that's what photography means.
I'm Kevin A. Bosch. Like many of you, I'm always on the lookout for new advances in digital photography. The OnePlus 5 provides those with the desire to fine-tune their photography a suite of professional controls to help achieve results that until recently were only available through the use of a DSLR. That's where Pro Mode and its suite of useful features comes into play. Let's take a look at some of Pro Mode's most powerful features. Features like the new histogram, adjustable screen ratio, and grids. That's not all though. Pro Mode also gives you full control over the ISO, white balance, shutter speed, focus, and exposure of your shots, and also the option to shoot in RAW. You might be wondering how each of these features work and what they can do for you. Allow me to explain. The histogram shows when a scene is overexposed or underexposed. On the left, you see your dark areas, and to the right, your bright areas. Keeping the levels in between will help you avoid underexposing shadows, or make sure that a cloud doesn't appear to be just a white blob. Being able to switch between aspect ratios is very useful and can help evoke a particular feeling in your pictures. If you're shooting a portrait, you might choose the square format, but when you're trying to capture a picturesque landscape, the 16:9 ratio may be better suited to get more of what you want in the frame. I'd recommend starting with the standard 4:3 ratio, and then move to the others to achieve the right feel for your image. The grids feature can really assist novice photographers while they get used to framing and placement. You can choose from several grids, but I recommend sticking with the 3x3 grid for most scenes. Let's quickly see how they can assist you. Use the intersecting lines to place your subject, as this will often create more engaging scenes, driving the viewer's eyes to what you want to show. Now that we've covered these basics, let's see how we can use them together with the exposure controls. Getting the right exposure on the OnePlus 5 is accomplished by adjusting the shutter speed and the ISO value. Keep in mind, when using slower shutter speeds, you'll need to keep your camera steady, and with moving subjects, you may want a faster shutter speed to freeze the action. In low light conditions, you can bring up the exposure by increasing the ISO value. Adjust the white balance setting to achieve a cooler or warmer image. Of course, these are just a few examples of what you can accomplish with Pro Mode on the OnePlus 5. The most important thing is to take lots of pictures and don't be afraid to experiment. Play with the settings until you find combinations that work for you. Go out, explore, and please share your pictures. Thanks. See you around.
What I love about landscape photography is how it can really draw you in. Lining up the perfect shot of a beautiful landscape isn't easy, but it's all worth it if you can take the photo that can transport someone right into the scene. Growing up in Greece, I was surrounded by great views. Every day was an adventure. I think that's where I got my eye for capturing vistas. I really wanted to share the landscapes and architecture I came across so others could see what I see. That's how I got into photography in the first place. I really love the creative control I get from the OnePlus 5. I can shoot in RAW to make sure I've got all the details I need to edit later. It's incredible. I mean, I can still nail a great shot even when I don't have my DSLR with me.
So today we're at the very first Open Ears Forum here in London. It's an event where we
have invited around 20 of our past customers to hear directly from them.
I mean, they've flown people in from all over, trying to get, I think, a relatively broad range of views. It shows the customer being taken pretty seriously, I think.
I'm excited, to be honest, quite excited. Being listened, probably seeing some actions being taken after we provide the feedback.
We wanted to have a really open and honest dialogue with people, and that's why we call it the Open Ears Forum. I think what's really important is to have that face-to-face interaction where we can really get into a nugget of information that people maybe wouldn't have shared otherwise.
Yeah, it's good to actually get it to the top, really, to the people that actually could make a difference and could make the changes.
We've got a lot of really passionate customers who believe in us and want us to grow, and it's taking that energy and taking the learnings that they've given us to build even better customer support.
If there was a way you can go to the website and find commonly reported problems or quicker turnarounds, maybe that could have made the experience a lot better.
We still have a lot of work to do to get where we want to be, but now we're working with maybe a clearer purpose in areas that we need to specifically improve.
I think it went pretty well. It was really productive. You know, doing this event is like only the first step. I think now the real work has to begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated and keep your phone on silent. The keynote will be starting in 5 minutes.
right, morning. How you guys doing? All right, so first off, on behalf of the OnePlus team, I want to welcome you guys here today to our event, The New View. First off, I think we feel lucky. We've got a pretty good turnout of users and community members that call the New York area home. Secondly, from talking to some of you guys, I know there's some community members who made the trip from much farther away, so I appreciate you guys making the trip. And then last, but certainly not least, I know there's a lot of you guys watching online around the world. And a special shout out to our users in India, because I know you guys are staying up late with us, so really appreciate it. Also, for myself, selfishly, as former resident of Crown Heights, just up the way here, it's always good to be back in Brooklyn. All right. So I think for us at OnePlus, when event marketing started, it was probably nothing more than just meeting up with users in a bar and talking about technology and phones and what was important. And that's how things kind of got started. A couple years ago, when it was time to kind of bring the community together for the first time, some of you guys might remember this, this was just across the river in Times Square, right? And I think the turnout ended up being a lot more than people were expecting. And so I think that kind of showed the passion of the OnePlus community. Just last year, just over in Soho, a bunch of you guys joined us to launch the OnePlus 3 and joined us for ice cream. And we're the first people in the world to get that device. Then over in June, just this year, there was about 1,000 of you that showed up just over in Meatpacking when we launched the OnePlus 5. Now, when we get together, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's big. This is just last month. A bunch of users met up with us and took a walk around Lower Manhattan and took some photos in FiDi. And so I think for us in our short history, the New York area is really special to us and an important part of our brand. So in our short history, I think for those of you guys that are pretty familiar with this industry, I think we've earned a reputation and credibility for making top quality mobile hardware. Okay, so I think we've earned that reputation. If you buy a OnePlus device, that's something that you're going to expect. But I think in this industry, there's like a cliche. Who's heard this, right? It's getting old, right? So, but I think you hear it over and over again, but I think over the last year and a half, 2 years, we all know it's true, right? It's not easy. And I think even the biggest technology companies, they struggle with, making hardware. And it's not easy for a couple reasons. You got to manage a supply chain of thousands of suppliers. You're going to run up against tight deadlines, and you got to make sure there's quality control for all of it, and you got to put it together in a device that's good, right? But the thing is, even with hardware, there's a couple things that work. I mean, you know the quality of components before you put them into a device. So if we have a processor, we know how fast it's going to be before we put it into a phone. But with software, it's a bit different, right? Because you got to make the feature first, then you got to test it with somebody to know it doesn't suck, right? It's worth putting in, putting on something, and that's not easy, especially if you're OnePlus. We have millions of users across the globe that have different preferences. So I think for us, the compromise that sometimes happens on software isn't necessarily something we're familiar with. So for us, when it comes to software, that's why we make sure we test it. We test it with users first and early. And the reason we do that is because you guys, our users, I believe personally, and I think we believe, are the most knowledgeable and most critical in technology, right? So when we do something wrong, it happens sometimes, you guys tell us, right? And you guys are knowledgeable. And so I think for us, that's the approach we take with software. Because I think sometimes it's about what you leave out is as important as what you put into it, okay? So that's our approach. So I'm glad to have all you guys here today. And I think for some of you guys who are a little bit newer to OnePlus, you'll get a feel for what's different. And I think what we believe is different is the role that users play in the development of our products. So enough talking from me. I want to bring up Brian, who's our head of design on UX, to talk to you a little bit more of what the role you guys play in developing our products. So thanks for coming.
Thanks, Kyle. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to see many of you here today. I'm Brian, and I'm here to talk about the story behind Oxygen OS today. So Oxygen OS has started its journey with the OnePlus 2, and back then we had built a reputation for combining the best hardware with the best software. And when we made the OnePlus 1, we didn't have a big software team. So we have to give thanks to Android open source project. Although we know Google has a commercial reason for supporting the Android, and it doesn't change the fact that we wouldn't be here without it. So instead, we run Cyanogen mode, and it's a really popular Android build made by the open source community. So without open source and Cyanogen mode, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are here today. So we are happy to Steve Kondik. Can you light up? Yeah, we are happy Steve Kondik, the founder of Cyanogen mode, is here today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, we do appreciate it. So thank you for supporting us and for being a part of our story. Thank you very much. And OxygenOS marked the first time we had to build our own ROM from the scratch. We had nothing at that moment. So user feedback became the guiding light for the development of the OxygenOS. And even the name was created by our fans on the forum. So we owed a lot to the person who named the OxygenOS. So yeah, Beautifier, if you are watching this now, I want to say thank you very much. Yeah. So over the next couple of months, we've worked really hard with our community to define the core philosophy behind OxygenOS. And many users say that they like OxygenOS because it stays close to pure Android. So I had to ask myself that why people so love the pure Android? What make people love this pure Android experience so much? And I think because it's a feeling you get when you turn on your new phone for the first time and everything just clicks. So it's a kind of sort of the experience all users want out of their devices, I believe so. And that before the launch of the OnePlus One, Android manufacturers were cutting the race to add as many fancy features to their device as they could. So even some smartphone today features duplicate apps. I think who here owns a phone with more than one pre-installed browser messaging or some application market app? I think some of you might have, right? And like animations, like animations, unnecessary apps are the opposite. It's totally opposite of what we want to do with OxygenOS. So we will always stay true to the fundamentals of pure Android. So you might be asking yourself, if OxygenOS is just a pure Android, then what are they paying you for? So software development team spends its time looking for the way to make the Android even better. So that doesn't mean adding more and more to Android. So it's about keeping the things that works and improving the things that don't. So with the OxygenOS, we don't want to emulate the stock. So of course, each of you might have a different definition about what pure Android is. But one thing is that today, even Google's own device runs modified version of the Android. So we just wanted to add improvement and a meaningful addition to the Android. Again, we are not trying to stay true. We are trying to stay true to the core principles of the Android. We are not trying to be identical to Android. That is what we are doing here. So it's an Android refined. And then inside the company, we call it Android Plus. Just like the name of our company, it has the meaning. So you are the one in OnePlus, and we aim to add value to your life. And that's what the Plus stands for. So our operating system has the same mission, which is following the same mission. And Android is one. It is the foundation of our software, and the Plus is what we do to make it even better. So we identified the 4 fundamentals of which defines the pure Android. This is our understanding why people like the pure Android. Because of the user interaction, it's very intuitive. And the second would be there's no bloatware. And the third one is the fast performance. It's very speedy. And the first is the power efficiency. First, every interaction has to be intuitive. For many of us, using an Android phone is kind of a basic muscle memory. And you have certain expectation when you swipe down, swipe up, or long press, or tap an icon on the home screen, right? And we are not here to mess with the way you use your phone. And I believe that Google employs a lot of the talented UX designers to make sure the Android performs intuitively. And it's been adopted by you users for a long time. it just works fine. So we are not going to spend our time to change the things that work. And one of the first things anyone will bring up when we discuss about the pros and cons of the running pure Android is no bloatware. It's just clean. There's nothing bloat. So every app has the clear purpose, limiting the redundancy. So for instance, you only have the one phone or one messaging app. Additions that are made to Oxygen OS only enhance the flexibility, fluidity, and the usability of our devices. And all those bloats directly affect the speed of the ROM, and running stock Android was always known as the fastest way to increase the performance. And Oxygen OS is optimized for speed. And thanks to efficient use of the memory and the lightweight apps, and faster to run, the smoother your experience. And the last one on the list is the power efficiency. And by cutting off the fat and focusing on the essentials, we solved two major user pain points at once. Not only is the performance enhanced, the power efficiency is also increased by 20%. So that way you can rest assured that a full battery will take you through a day of the use and beyond of it. So if our goal was just to build a pure Android because people like it so much, then we just covered those four fundamentals and stop there. We don't need to do anything more then. Right? But with the Oxygen OS, we just use those four as our jumping board to create even better user experience. So Android is a good operating system. It is. But I cannot say that that's the perfect operating system because there's no perfect operating system in the world. So we believe that we can change and improve many things. So we set out to refine the experience by focusing on the four key pillars that define Oxygen OS as an operating system. The first one will be the reliability and efficiency and speed. The last one is the user feedback. So many of the features introduced first were later added to measure Android updates. This is an example. If you looked at the home screen on the Android device a few years ago, every app icon had a different size. It was a kind of chaotic appearance. It's now getting better, yeah. But we identified the flow early and released our own auto-resize feature. And it wouldn't be until the release of the Nougat before a similar feature was added to Android. So if nothing else, it proves that there's plenty of room to improve. So creating a feature that addresses pain points is all about listening to users. So we've got fans around the world and who all help us to build the ROM for the global audience. And the user input reaches us from all over, whether it be through our closed beta, open beta programs, which provides a valuable feedback on each and every feature we add. And or our community, who are always eager to share the feedback onto our latest updates. So every feature we develop stays true to the pillars of Oxygen OS: reliable, efficient, fast, and user-driven. So this is one example that the feature developed in response to users' feedback, which is we gave the option to users that which is automatically rearrange the icons on the home screen with just one click. Yeah, this is kind of a good example of how we implement user feedback at all stages of the development, because a lot of people said that the moving each icons to the different screen is really bad. So user feedback starts long before we release features publicly. So OnePlus users are involved in the entire development process. So in many ways, you are key members of the Oxygen OS team. So this is especially true for our beta program. When I started leading the beta program last year, my goal was to use it to get the feedback on our product from users directly. So today, our beta testers are our core part of the product team. So they are providing feedback and suggesting new features at every stage of development. Like you see, they are spread out across the globe. and each providing their own insights on how to deliver a solid software experience from a different context, and offering the personal and valuable feedback. We are proud to have some of the members of our beta program with us today. Please light up, and please. They are contributing to making your experience even better and better. So let's give a big hand to our beta testers here today. Thank you, thank you. And also thanks to testers who are not here today. Okay, so we are working with more than 250 closed beta testers. So they are our first line of the defense when it comes to the testing features and software updates is our closed beta teams. So we are in daily contact with them through our so we get their daily thoughts and feedback on our features, and we share with them for testing and validation. So our beta testers receive a new feature to evaluate almost weekly, no, almost daily, because when it comes up with a new idea, we just find them and talk them. And I feel like a little sorry because we make them, keep them too busy, but I believe they are enjoying it as well. Now, they help us to release the 43 open beta builds starting August 2016. Since then, these builds have been shared over 15,000 open beta testers. It's getting bigger and bigger now. And every time we release an open beta build, we receive thousands of unique pieces of feedback. And for from the simple bug fixes to more drastic changes, our open beta testers help us identify and resolve new pain points every day. So it's all to ensure every software iteration is smooth and clean when it sees the public release. A good example of how our beta users help improve our software is the new booting animation. Probably if you're in the open beta program, then you might saw this before. And our idea was like this. We wanted to use this boot animation as our doodle space, so that we could deliver our season's greeting or some hints of upcoming events or updates. But unfortunately, user feedback was so negative. It was terrible. So it was hard actually. Yeah. So we decided not to move forward with this animation at all. And so ultimately, our users help us reverse a bad code before it went public. Yeah, this is a good example how our users make our software better, or this is a good example how they protect us. So perhaps the best and most recent example was our decision to give users the option of the updating application individually. A few months ago, users had to wait for our official OTAs to update all of their applications. So many users requested more frequent application updates. So yes, we decided to shorten the cadence for application individually. So now you can update your apps such as a launcher, gallery, and weather, and community apps directly from the Google Play Store. Seems like it's not a big thing, but we did it because we listened to you. Because you asked us to do these things, so we did it. So, and then we will continue to add these options to more of our applications soon. And you really need to, yeah, I really want you to experience our process to understand what makes this special or different. But sadly, it would take a long time to take you on a live tour. So instead, we've whipped up this video to give you guys a better ideas of how our process works. Let's take a look.
We never wanted to create just a phone. That was just the starting point. We wanted to create a phone that got better and better and better with every update. And the only way to do that was to listen. So if someone said something about an issue with their screen, we knew what to solve. And when people started realizing we were actually listening, this whole community formed. Some people told us how annoying low-light selfies can be. So we turned the screen into a makeshift flash and added professional settings to make the camera way better. We heard people wanted to shoot more stable high-res videos. So we developed this software to greatly reduce shake. So we gave people a way to turn them off. We were never driven by a big research department. We're driven by these people who are our biggest fans and our biggest critics. So we try to do everything we can to surprise and impress them. Then we send it out into the world and do it all again.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm here to, I told you that I'm here to talk about the story behind oxygen noise. So there are so many things I want to say with you, talk with you, but I hope you guys understand with this video well, okay? So since the launch of the oxygen noise, this approach has led us to develop a number of fan favorite features. So a couple of them really stand out, and I'd like to introduce them to you today. Anyone plays the Asphalt 8 here? No? I do. So have you ever gotten a random text message in the middle of the game? I did a lot. So like accidentally I tapped the notification, I jumped to another application, and then when I got back, I really lost the game. Yeah, it's a terrible experience losing a game because of an unexpected interruption. So that's what gaming D&D does. It blocks notification while you're gaming to make sure you don't lose your edge when it counts. It's not like you will magically stop losing. We will not develop this kind of feature. It's cheating, so we will never do that. So, but at least you will only have yourself to blame, right? Yeah, so gaming D&D was never actively requested by any of our users. But by talking with users, we learned just how important it is to be able to focus while you game. So sometimes we are inspired by direct feedback from our users, but other times we got insight by talking to users. And through our Slack and WhatsApp groups. So we're talking with our close battle group daily, like through the WhatsApp and Slacks. So we learned a lot of our users like to play games. Yeah, seriously, our users love playing games. And they hate being notified while in game. So we figured out the solution to fix this problem based on this insight. And do you have more than one Skype account or other social media accounts? It's pretty common to have the needs for 2 Skype accounts. One for the business, another one is for my family or friends. So our parallel application features gives you ability to create a so-called shadow version of your social media app. Yeah, this allows you to log into the same social media platform with 2 different accounts. So while my work account is filled with the request and discussion on software and design, I keep a separate account for my friends and family, so I don't accidentally send out the confidential beta code to my drinking buddy or my family. Which is similar to our dual SIM feature, which allows you to have 2 numbers on one device. So it allows you to personally determine how you interact with your phone, with whom, and when. See, this is all about the flexibility. Oh, I still have to move a lot of data to my new OnePlus device. We still remember having to hook up our phones to our PCs to back up apps, files, photos, and our call history or other data. But this process was awfully complex, I think, and often we just ditch it. I did it a couple of times because I don't want to set up it again and again and again. So we just start fresh on our new devices. But now we are currently hard at work on a new application that will make the process of switching to a new device way more easier. So we call it OnePlus Switch. With the OnePlus Switch app, you will be able to transfer all of your files to your new OnePlus device with a single simple process. So features like this help set Oxygen OS apart as a friendly and easy to use software experience. So we expect to release this feature later this year. So keep an eye on our updates logs for OnePlus Switch. And I'm sure we've got plenty of iPhone users here today in OnePlus launching event. That's okay, because we know that a lot of our users, they used to use iPhone before. So since a lot of you are joining our family, we wanted to make the transition a little easier. So OnePlus Switch is also going to compatible with the iPhone. So this is the way how we welcome you to join OnePlus. So we are proud of Oxygen OS and update coming to existing the OnePlus users. So since the launch of the Oxygen OS, our team has prioritized pushing out the stable and reliable software updates. So by giving our team the space and time, they need to deliver a high-quality updates, and users can enjoy a solid software experience whenever we push out the major Android update. So what does that mean for the updates everyone's talking about? So here's what's happening with the Android Oreo. We never release any of our software updates without running them by our most dedicated users. So later this month, OnePlus 5 users around the world will be able to try out Android Oreo in open beta. You can download this from our forum. With your help, we will look to scratch the last remaining bugs and glitch before pushing out the public updates to Oreo. So when will that go down? Android Oreo will come to OnePlus 5 in early 2018. And we cannot talk about Oreo without talking about our latest flagship offering. So whenever we release a new device, our team needs to test and optimize the software experience to make sure it's thoroughly reliable. A combination of new hardware and a lack of user input make developing software for a new device more difficult than developing software that's already in the hands of users. We believe it's always better to release a solid update at a later date than pushing out the buggy updates early. Therefore, Android Oreo will also arrive on the OnePlus 5T open beta late December. So we are pretty excited to get everyone started on the Oreo in 2017. Oh, wait. Damn, I just said the OnePlus 5T. It's not started yet. So I think you guys need more information of the OnePlus 5T. So I want to bring up our co-founder, Carl Pei, to the stage. Thank you.
What's up, New York? In a month, we'll be celebrating our 4th anniversary, but it feels way longer than that because so many things have happened. So let's go back to how it all started. We were a group of product people, engineers, and marketers all working in the smartphone industry, and all had ideas on how things could have been done better. But I don't think any of us thought about actually doing something ourselves because creating a smartphone brand seemed like such a difficult thing to do. But back in 2013, the smartphone industry was not in a good place. It felt like Android brands competed on who could have the most features, but they didn't really care about design or user experience. So that's why we were all using iPhones. And we realized what a great opportunity we had here. What if we could combine the openness of Android with Apple's focus on design, polish, and user experience? I mean, there must be Android users out there who also care about these things, right? So in December that year, we announced our ideas to the world without even having a product. We also announced our tagline, "Never Settle." And to our surprise, a lot of people seemed to agree with us. They signed up to our community, they talked to us, and they supported us. Of course, there were also the skeptics who felt like we talked a really big talk and we couldn't actually deliver. We had no idea on how many would actually buy our product, so to control risk, we only made 1,000 phones in our first batch. And because we hadn't tested the phone globally, we didn't want to roll it out too quickly. So we created an invite system. You had to be invited by a friend to be able to buy our phones. And because we wanted our very first users to be the most loyal, we had a program where you had to sign up to smash your phone and upload a video to YouTube to be eligible to be selected as one of the first 100 people to try our first product, the OnePlus One. It was kind of designed like a religious ritual, where you had to make a sacrifice to be able to join our movement. But in a week, 140,000 people actually signed up. And when signups were over, we surprised people by telling them that instead of smashing their phones, they could actually donate them to charity. But we didn't tell them until after the sign up because we wanted to test their commitment. Nevertheless, many people still insisted on smashing their phones anyway. So if you search OnePlus Smash the Past on YouTube, you'll still find plenty of videos of people smashing their phones. So here's a sample of them.
This is the homemade potato gun I will be using to shoot the Galaxy S5. So we have potato all over the back cover. We've got
Our first product became wildly popular. People were selling invites on eBay for as much as $400 in the beginning. And to be clear, they weren't selling the phone. They were selling the right to be able to buy them. It got to a point where we were like, hey, let's not let these assholes make money. Let's sell the invites ourselves and donate the money to charity instead. So we worked together with eBay and the UNICEF TAB project on selling invites for the OnePlus 2. And we had originally projected to sell 30 to 50,000 phones in year one, but we ended with almost 1 million, and that's really a lot for a new brand. It also made us feel like we were already successful, that the hard work had paid off, and that we'd proven the skeptics wrong. In fact, we became so confident in ourselves that we started to ignore the feedback from our community because we thought that we had already satisfied them, and now we had to move on to a more mainstream audience. So with the OnePlus 2, we decided to remove NFC, despite our users asking for it. And on top of that, we decided to use the Snapdragon 810 processor. Early on, we knew that the thermal performance of the 810 wasn't very good, but with our newly gained cockiness from our successes in our first year, we were confident in our abilities to handle the 810 processor through software. In the end, we couldn't build a good performance profile on the OnePlus 2 where speed and temperatures were balanced. Either it became too laggy or too hot, and in the end, the product wasn't received well. With the OnePlus 1 and OnePlus 2 being flagship phones, we felt the need to enter the mid-range segment so more people would have access to our products. So we made the OnePlus X, and it was a great product, but it moved us further away from our community. Recently, we asked one of our users whether they liked the OnePlus X, and they said yes. And then we asked them whether they buy it, and they said no. It turns out that our users chose OnePlus because we made high-end flagships, not anything else. So the results of 2015 weren't very great. It seemed like whatever we said or did was wrong, and we attracted a lot of criticism during this year. So as a result, we stopped communicating with our community because we lost confidence in ourselves. But there's a silver lining to this story. We learned the lesson of humility. We were lucky to have come out of this year alive. We no longer thought that highly of ourselves and began listening to feedback from our community again. In 2016, we went back to the drawing board. We focused on flagship phones, fast performance, and quality software. We reconnected with our community again and started asking them for suggestions while using their input to improve our product. And that was what Brian was talking about earlier. This led to the creation of the OnePlus 3 and the 3T, products rated by consumers and the press as two of the best phones of that year. So after 2016, OnePlus was back for real. And earlier this year, we released the OnePlus 5. It represented everything that we'd learned and was our most complete phone ever. It's been received positively by both the users and the media. And here are some comments from our users. And here are some comments from the media. So we talked a lot about our history, but now it's time to bring it back into the present. I know a lot of you are excited about a particular announcement that we're making today. We don't believe in new and different technologies if they don't provide a meaningful user benefit. When we make a product decision, we ask ourselves, would this technology enable us to release a superior product? If the answer is yes, we should do it as soon as possible. Like software, hardware is always changing. If you had a great software update, you wouldn't wait half a year just to release it. So why would you wait with hardware? It's about delivering the latest technology today. And this is our approach with the T line. But what does T actually mean? To be honest, our team just had a little bit of fun. There's a certain other company that has an S line, and S plus 1 equals T. And hey, we're OnePlus, right? So without further ado, this is the OnePlus 5T.
Open your eyes. The things you see today are tomorrow's ancient history. If you're not part of the evolution when the view changes, you'll fall behind. Technology is always in motion. It is our nature to see it, capture it, share it. The innovations of tomorrow are being possible today. Open your eyes. Can you see it? Let us capture it together.
So what do you think? Isn't it beautiful? The screen is amazing, and I know we're a little bit late to the game. We're not the first brand to have come out with an immersive screen, but most of you here should be aware of some of the recent controversies surrounding smartphone displays. We all know how hard it is to get the screen right. We wanted to wait until we could get the quality screen that matches our expectations and yours. And now, I'd like to invite Simon, our product manager, to talk about what's new with the OnePlus 5T.
Thank you, Kar. Hi, everyone. My name is Simon, and as one of product managers at OnePlus, I was involved in development of OnePlus 5T. And the thing that gets me excited the most is our new display. When we decided to release OnePlus 5T, it didn't sound like such a big deal, but when you actually go hands-on with it, it's incomparable to anything else I had used before. It's hard to describe just how much more immersive and natural the feeling is once you switch from 16:9 ratio to 18:9 ratio display. The closest comparison I can think of is switching from a tube TV to a wide flat screen. That moment deeply changed the way we look at our television, and it's the same with our new full optic AMOLED display. It's impossible for me to switch back to a smaller one. When we launched the OnePlus One, many of our users were a little bit concerned whether the 5.5 inches display is not too big to handle. And now we are releasing a phone with 6 inches display, and probably many of you have the same concern. But the OnePlus 5T screen is 12.5% larger than the one you can find on OnePlus 5, but the form factor of the device remains the same, so it's no larger than OnePlus 5. When you're using OnePlus 5, though, numbers don't really matter, because what you will notice most is how much more immersive the display is. It truly feels like you are part of next technological leap forward. Since adopting AMOLED display 3 years ago, our display has been gotten better and better, and we are confident that with OnePlus 5T, we are bringing the best OnePlus display yet. Have you guys ever struggled to use phone under the harsh light? I hope so, because now we have a solution for this problem. Our new full optic AMOLED display features new sunlight display that adapts automatically to ambient light and create an optimal viewing experience depending on what you're doing. So when you're gaming, contrast is increased to help you focus, and similar adjustments are done when you are browsing gallery or taking a photo. Sunlight display adjusts the screen to best fit your experience, as well as keep your screen clear in harsh light. While many of our users enjoy our default screen calibration, we know that it's very important to be able to give users an opportunity to adjust. So our sRGB and DCI-P3 display calibration both have been carefully optimized to display a specific color space. Our work with OnePlus 5T took us in several directions. We were confident that we can deliver an immersive display, but exactly how the display would affect other key components was a learning process. And finally, we decided to move fingerprint scanner on the back of the device. It made sense because the display looks and feel way more immersive when there is no obstructions on the front. But since the OnePlus 2, we've always had fingerprint scanner on the front, as this is very natural place for thumb, especially when the phone is face up on the table. So actually having to move it to the back sucked, but sometimes you have no choice but to compromise. Except we didn't, because we always had double tap to wake. I'm sure you guys are not sure what I'm talking about, but let me show you. And the phone is unlocked. And I suppose you have not seen what just happened. Focus on this little smiley. This is our new feature, which we call Face Unlock. With the Face Unlock, you can unlock your phone in just 0.4 seconds. Let's look at it one more time. It is basically instant, and it's one of the fastest facial recognition features on any smartphone. It is also incredibly reliable. By memorizing over 100 facial identifiers, Face Unlock can detect your face when you're wearing a scarf or making a funny face. I'm quite good at making funny faces, so I would like to show you guys. It's unlock as well. As long as Face Unlock can detect your eyes and nose, it's 99% success rate. However, safety is our primary concern, and we refuse to take any risk. So you can use your Face Unlock to unlock your device, but it won't work with apps that require sensitive information like payment apps. For those, you can rely on our speedy fingerprint scanner. Next, let's talk about design. A seamless all-metal chassis ensures that the OnePlus 5T is both functionally and visually slim, comfortable to hold, and extremely durable. It's pretty common, though, for a smartphone these days to look like an uninspired brick. So we did two things to avoid that. First, we arced the design of the OnePlus 5T, making the phone more ergonomic and flexible. Second, we brought back the horizon line, a continuous hard edge that emphasizes strength and agility by dividing the phone body into two halves. One cast in light, the other one in shadow, for a truly stunning effect. Next up, we have an alert slider. It's easy to access and adjust. You don't even need to pick your phone out of your pocket. You can quickly set your phone to 3 notification profiles. Ring to receive all, do not disturb to receive priority calls, and silent when you really need to focus. And of course, there's something else we need to talk about. Yeah. By your reaction, I can understand that many of you guys still use headphones with 3.5mm jack, right? Yeah, and that goes for most members of our community. Choice of headphone model is incredible, and there's a pair of headphones for every pair of ears, but the one thing that they have in common is the 3.5mm plug. And the number of USB Type-C accessories is still too limited to be considered a decent alternative. And that's why, of course, headphone jack will continue to feature on our devices until that happens. The OnePlus 5T, with its incredible immersive screen, is absolutely stunning. But just watching me use it on a big stage does not do the trick, so we recommend you guys to take your hands on the device soon and try it yourself. Another area I'd like to focus on is the camera. We're very proud to have one of the best dual camera setups on any smartphone. Based on what we have learned about our users and the way they use their camera, we have decided to improve two key aspects of the OnePlus 5T's dual camera. The first one is low light performance, and the second is portrait photography. In terms of hardware, the OnePlus 5T uses the same main camera as we all loved on OnePlus 5, but the second sensor is improved and now features the focal of 1.7, allowing the camera to capture more light and shoot clearer photos in low light conditions. But that's not all we've done to make sure your low light photos looks better than ever. You probably already know that a sensor can only capture a specific amount of pixels of any given size, and the size of these pixels influence how the low light photography looks like. And to improve the low light performance, we have integrated what we call intelligent pixel technology in the OnePlus 5T's secondary lens. When ambient light drops to about 10 lux, the OnePlus 5T switches to a secondary rear lens, which combines 4 pixels into one to capture more light and improve the clarity of the photos. Here are some low light photos shot on the OnePlus 5T. If you'd like to check them out, just visit OnePlus/snaps. But what about the portrait mode? On the OnePlus 5, it was one of the best received features we released. So, of course, we are bringing back to the OnePlus 5T, and it's better than ever. Both lenses on the OnePlus 5T's dual camera have the same focal length, and it allows you to capture more details in a background when shooting portraits. But that's not all. We've made a serious improvements to the software of the camera to improve the clarity of your photos. In most dual camera, portraits are cropped to compensate the difference in focal length between the primary and the secondary lens. And as a result, fewer details is captured and photos appear closer than if you make them in just like a regular camera mode. And as well as it's way harder to capture a perfect frame. But because the two sensors on the OnePlus 5T are identical, have identical aperture, no cropping is required. And let's take a look at the difference. It's quite significant. Shooting a portrait takes no more than a few milliseconds, so you'll never notice the custom algorithm that improves your portraits in a background to make sure it all looks good. It's a lot of work to create a beautiful portrait, but the OnePlus 5T manages the entire process in less time than it takes you to blink. Let's see how the OnePlus 5T performs in practice. Our friend, Kevin Abosch, who is known around the world for his portraits. You may know him for the portraits of the potato that he sold for over $1 million. He took to the streets of the New York City with the OnePlus 5T to put our dual camera to the test. Take a look. If you want to check out these and other portraits shown on OnePlus 5T, don't forget to visit OnePlus/snaps. Stability is key to record smooth videos, so we knew we got to get EIS right on OnePlus 5. We made you guys wait a little, but we had to make sure our EIS feature is one of the best in the industry. A lot of you share very specific feedback on how to improve our stability feature, which we use to push EIS 4K out in the best possible shape, majorly improving the stability of our high-resolution shots on the OnePlus 5P. As one of our biggest critics, Android Police is always very quick and to point out our flaws. So when they describe our EIS 4K feature as a stunning, regardless of lighting or content, we knew we got it right. With an improved portrait mode, great low light performance, and reliable stabilization technology, OnePlus 5T dual camera is easily our best camera released yet. Let's talk a little bit about the secret ingredient that brings it all together, performance. Whether it is a millisecond of a lag or an unintuitive feature, a lot of different factors play a key role in keeping your device smooth and speedy. When your phone starts to lag just 4 months after you have started using it, it's definitely not the experience you want from your purchase. Of course, we do everything to make your phone perform top-notch right out of the box. But to us, it's even more important that your phone performance will be great a year later. Let's take a moment to cover 4 aspects that we focus on to improve OnePlus 5T's fast performance. It's processing power, memory, uploading, and charging. OnePlus 5T features one of the best and most powerful hardware found on any smartphone. We believe this is the best specs list of 2017. Take a look. The way our software and hardware work together is what makes the OnePlus 5T such a smooth and fast device. Performance speed is easy to quantify, but difficult to qualify. You may think it's only a 0.3 second increase in speed. Why would it matter? We could show you 100 charts showcasing the speed of our phone in different conditions, but you will never be able to understand what it all means unless you try OnePlus 5T for yourself. Once you get used to speed and smoothness on the 5T, it's hard to go back to anything else. Ask anyone who experienced our phone and they will tell you the same thing. The industry-leading Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor is still the fastest Android processor available today. Enhanced by Oxygen OS optimized software, it loads up demanding apps and games faster than any other Android phone, as well as run them all extremely smoothly. The OnePlus 5T also features an unmatched 8 GB of LPDDR4X memory, more than anyone else in industry. Switching between apps has been faster than ever, and it's very easy. It allows you to open all of your favorite games and social media apps at the same time and switch between them completely lag-free. Great when you want to both beat your friend in-game and rub his face in his defeat on Facebook. We've also devoted a lot of time and effort to optimize launching speeds. This isn't just because of the power of hardware, but it's also thanks to our improvements made to Oxygen OS. As a result, no other smartphone loads up apps and games faster than the OnePlus 5T. What's just as important is that the OnePlus 5T will automatically learn how to improve your experience over time. It's all thanks to our software feature called App Priority, which improves the launch speeds of your favorite apps while keep apps you rarely use from taking up too much memory. Last but never least, there's dash charge. Our custom fast charging solution makes sure you never have to wait long for your phone to recharge. A day's power in half an hour is back, and it remains one of the thank you. And it remains one of the fastest way to charge your phone when the screen is off. It's also absolutely the fastest way to charge your phone when the screen is on, so you never have to stop using your phone. Dash charge has been OnePlus staple since we released OnePlus 3, and it's still a fun favorite feature. With the OnePlus 5T, we are once again aiming to deliver a definitive flagship experience. Let's recap what we have done to make OnePlus 5T our best device yet. So first off, you've got your new 18:9 full optic AMOLED display. It delivers the most immersive experience ever on a OnePlus smartphone without compromising on size or weight. Next up is our improved 16 plus 20 megapixel dual camera to help you shoot clearer portraits and low light shots. Oxygen OS is receiving a whole bunch of exciting features like parallel apps and face unlock. And finally, we enhance performance through a combination of best hardware available and carefully optimized software. We are incredibly proud of what we have accomplished with OnePlus 5T, allowing us to offer the finest smartphone innovation right here and now. We hope you're excited to experience our latest flagship for yourself. Let me bring back Carl on stage to wrap things up. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. So that's the OnePlus 5T. Are you all excited? Let's talk about the one thing you all want to know, the price. How much is the OnePlus 5T going to cost? The prices of smartphones, especially flagships, have been steadily increasing over the years. Technology has improved, but the cost of components have also gone up. It's a situation that affects everyone. Phones today cost more than ever, some even more than $1,000. And the way most people buy their phones is a little bit counterintuitive, so we decided to change it. Buying a phone often involves a lot of middlemen, each taking a cut of the final price. We decided to change this by selling our devices directly to consumers online and working with partners who share our vision of putting the consumer first. This has allowed us to provide fairer prices from the very beginning. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of leaks, speculations, and rumors regarding the OnePlus 5T. Price has, of course, come up, and here's just a handful of them. But enough with the rumors. The OnePlus 5T starts at $499 US. And here's the pricing for other currencies and capacities. We're pretty happy with this and hope you are too. Looking at what's out there, we think that the OnePlus 3T is a really competitive product going into the holidays. Sales of the OnePlus 5T starts November 21st in North America, Europe, and India. And we're celebrating the launch of the OnePlus 5T with a number of special accessory offers and bundles. Some are only valid on launch day, so check them out on oneplus.net on November 21st. Ever since the start, we've been close to the open source community. And through this event, we also wanted to give something back. Do you guys remember the tickets you paid for this event? You guys paid for them, so therefore you deserve to know where the money is going. So the proceeds of the tickets sold for this event will be donated to F-Droid. F-Droid, thank you. F-Droid is an app catalog consisting entirely of open source apps. It's a nonprofit project that helps open source developers share their creations with the world. We're making this donation to support Android developers in learning from each other and also to give back to the community. A month from now, we're 4 years old, so some of you might be wondering, how is OnePlus doing? So I can share a couple of data points. Data from last month showed that we were 32% of India's premium smartphone market, after only Apple. And on Amazon India, the OnePlus 5 became the best-selling smartphone within the first quarter of a launch. In Finland, we're working with the largest carrier there, called Elisa, and OnePlus has been the #1 selling device 14 out of the last 15 months. The only 1 month where we were not #1 was when the iPhone 7 launched. And globally, the OnePlus 5 has been the best-selling, fastest-selling OnePlus device ever. So it looks like things are going okay for OnePlus. And I know a lot of you also feel like OnePlus is your company because you've been with us from the very beginning. So when you share feedback, we know that you genuinely want to see us improve. So for all the support that you've shown us and even the criticism you've given us, we're incredibly grateful. We're pretty confident that we're going to keep growing, and one day in the future, you will hopefully see OnePlus devices all around you, maybe even used by people who have no idea about technology or who doesn't really care. But when that happens, I'd like you all to remember one thing. Our intentions have never changed. We make our products for you, our community. So for those of you who are here today, we look forward to showing you the OnePlus 5T at our Experience Zone opening up right now over there. And all of you joining us online, keep an eye on your favorite tech sites for their hands-on reports as well. We're pretty excited to check them out ourselves too. Once again, thanks for being part of the OnePlus 5T launch. We hope that you're as excited about the OnePlus 5T as we are. Thank you.